Hello and welcome to the Tamworth FC Social, a podcast all about Tamworth Football Club. Well, it was Tamworth who came out victorious in the top of the table clash at Scunthorpe United, and with it moved 12 points clear at the top of the National League North. We'll be looking back at that and the Spennymoor win, as well as looking ahead to the Lambs' first match of February. You can click subscribe below this video and switch notifications on to be updated when we upload new episodes. Brett, you were there on Tuesday night at Scunthorpe. Tell us what it was like.
It had so many resemblances to a cup tie. We had a great following, 250 Tamworth fans. Obviously, that's slashed in half from what was originally going up on the Saturday before. It was a great atmosphere. The team put in a real hard-fought shift. I thought Ben Aquai and Matt Curley were absolutely fantastic. Jordan Cullinane Larbird as well played brilliantly. I just think there were so many individual performances that stood out. The importance of that game, to have come away and won that, I don't think we would have done that 5-10 years ago. These are the sort of games that in the past would have gone to and would have lost.
Is the win all the sweeter, Graham, because we did have to wait for the game to be played? It was postponed from the other Saturday, and the patience has paid off, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, like I said it last week, didn't I? I said it was kind of everything was against us a little bit. And the fact that we went into this game on a Tuesday evening, half of the fans that we were meant to be bringing there weren't going to be coming. They've had some of their players, their best players, coming back into the fold. It's a Tuesday night. They're full time. We're not. Everything that potentially could go against us, and I kind of had a feeling that this would happen, and it has. And just echoing what Brett said, what performance really. It was. I think for me, the occasion got to Scunthorpe, and we just played it like another game, and we wanted it more, all over the pitch, and we just stuck to our fundamentals that we do every game. We just worked so hard once again and got our rewards. Just exceptional performances across the pitch. The defence were fantastic. I wasn't able to get the atmosphere and take in what Brett did because I only watched it on the telly. But when we scored that winning goal, you could see it with all the fans and the players and how much it meant to everybody. It was it was fantastic. I was just shouting in my living room, but that was that was all the atmosphere that I had. But it was what a great victory, and all the sweet that we did that on a Tuesday night as well.
From a Scunthorpe point of view, I think it's absolutely disgraceful that a full-time team that trains pretty much every day can get out-muscled and outworked by a part-time outfit of players that have been at work all day. It's halfway through the week. They had to put a shift in on Saturday as well. To get out-muscled and outperformed by a team of part-timers when you're full-time, when you have to win, I just think it's dreadful. And no wonder the Scunthorpe fans are annoyed about that.
It's credit to Tamworth and the way that they play, and Andy Peake sets up every game, and just the whole mentality and everything and the momentum. It all just feeds into this, and we just out battle every single team we play at the moment, and long may that continue. You could see kind of glimpses of Scunthorpe as a good football inside. They were trying to pass it. They were trying to play pretty football at times, especially in the first half. But it was ineffective. And as you say, Brett, they didn't work as hard as us. They didn't want it as much as us.
My only concern is, and I said this yesterday, when it looked like for a while we needed something else to break them down, especially now Jolis has gone. I mean, obviously, he was in the stand, but he's not on the pitch. There's no sort of... I mean, this is exactly what Scunthorpe was saying after the game for them. But there's no real plan B. we've got a couple of players we can bring on to shut up shop and slow it down a little bit. But when we've got to get it back on and start moving it forward again, that team that we played yesterday, we've got Shakun, we've got Equai. All right, here we had Carl Williams on the bench and Deacon, but there ain't enough there then to go on and really change the game. I think that could be a problem for the February fixtures we've got.
Do you mean in terms of like a flair player maybe that you could bring off the bench if you're struggling to break a team down or something like that?
Yeah, because I think what we yesterday was screaming out for was, for a while, I mean, obviously the sending off changed the game, but we were building momentum and pressure from that point anyway. But I think what it was really missing was just someone with that a little bit more of a gilt edge through the middle. We were great on the wings. I think Aqua was really good at getting in and cutting inside, but there's very little to sort of link that play up for the final little bit, and I think that could end up hurting us. Because there was a stage where I was saying we needed something else going forward, and I didn't really know what we could have done. I mean, it didn't matter because obviously Creaney popped up with the goal, but I just think if we were chasing it, it remained 0-0. I don't know, other than continually working and working and working, if it had continued to need something different, I don't know where we would have gone.
It's an interesting point, and maybe that's the kind of, with Jealous going, that is that missing link. They've got to find a way of effectively kind of replacing that, because everything that you were saying there about going through the middle, linking up the play, that's kind of what he did because he was box-to-box midfielder. So it's interesting that really how we tackle that. The fact that we won that game, we found a way to win that game, shows that we don't necessarily need Jealous, in my head, because we can beat teams without him. We can. We've got enough about us. It is maybe a nice to have. It might be wrong when we play Alfreton on Saturday, which is going to be a really tough game.
I would expect that Andy Peakes has us as a plan almost. Say if there was to be an injury or something like that, you would like to think there is a sort of short list of players maybe that they're monitoring to bring in at short notice or something like that. But then again, it is, it's worked so far for Tamworth. I know they've brought, likes of Chris Ray in, who was a short-term loan to provide cover up front. But on the whole, Tamworth's plan A has been pretty good. And I think that the overwhelming feedback from opposition fans seems to have been, your team is so well drilled, so well organised. I think it was against Warrington, was it? I remember after that on social media, all the opposition fans were just seemed a little bit blown away almost by how good Tamworth were and how sort of good as a unit they were.
It really is hard to be critical. To me, I'm not being critical. It's just a point to make of like kind of where we see we could improve or where we have a weakness. But really, as we've said, that whole team, because they all know their roles and responsibilities, if one goes out, another one comes in, they pick it up. Lyndon Meikle came on last night and I thought he looked solid. I kind of prefer him in a way as an option to Tom Tonks. I know he's got the throws, and that's been a kind of a kind of key thing that we've used over the last couple of weeks. But I do like Lyndon Meikle. I think there's a bit of a touch of class with him, of how he moves about the pitch, and fairly reliable. So yeah, it's hard to criticise. We can't really, because of the season we've had, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Keen to find out from you both, where would you say Tuesday's result at Scunthorpe ranks in terms of results this season? Are we sort of all agreed it's the win of the season?
Yeah.
I think in terms of what was at stake, it's the win of the season. I don't think it's our best performance of the season. I think our best performance of the season was against Warrington. I think we were exceptional. But in terms of what's at stake, yeah, I think and what that means to us and the rest of the season, yeah, it's massive. It's huge.
And it's obviously very difficult to know this until the end of the season, but how big a win or how important a win is the Scunthorpe victory, say, this decade, for instance?
The 2020s up until last season haven't been great for us, so it doesn't stack up against a lot. But yeah, but I think it will go it will take some beating for importance. I think it will take some beating.
To me, it's rounded off a fantastic month for us. And I remember Brett saying at the start of the month, if we get through this month and we win all those games, we deserve to be where we are. And we've proved it. Like, I almost feel like this whole month is kind of like our collection of games is the best we've had for a decade. And the Scunthorpe game was just that one to round it off. And yeah, it's fantastic, really. But we've got 15 games to go. So we've got to draw a line underneath that, move on to the next one, and keep doing what we're doing.
Spoke like Andy Peaks there, Graham. I love it. Are there any results that come to mind in terms of, similar magnitudes? We talked about it before we recorded the show. Brett, you were saying maybe the Forest Green win in 2011.
Yeah.
Sort of there in terms of importance. Are there any others?
I was just reading that report for that game, and that team was absolutely woeful. So the fact that we even come away, I mean, that is not even a Conference North 16, never mind Conference National 16. So I think there's that one. There's the win against Southport in the title race for the Conference North last time as well. That convenient was a Tuesday night as well. And we ended up playing a lot more games than them towards the end of the season. They were playing, I think, a couple of weeks, they were playing 3 games a week to catch up. So that was significant as well. I think they're the main two that come to light for me.
Any from you, Graham?
The last game of last season was significance, really, because of how long we've been in the doldrums of that league below, which, arguably, obviously we've ended up there. We deserve to be there because of, what happened. We got relegated, but we've been there for so long. It was almost like we weren't going to get out. So to me, that was a really important game in the kind of the last few years. That Forest Green game, I remember that quite well. That Jake Sheridan goal was ridiculous. But I think, the importance of what we've done here and where we could be going because of it is huge. It is probably our biggest win since we've been in the conference, really. It outdoes that, potentially outdoes that win from last season on the last game of the season. There was Scunthorpe fans saying that this team that they've got was good enough to be playing in League Two. Big claim, but if that's true, that on paper they have got a good squad and they're paying those players well and they're full time and we've beaten them and gone to their place under pressure with everything, the odds stacked against us, and we've done the job, but rightly so. We're top of the league. We're top of the league by 9 points. We're now top of the league by 12 points.
I don't think the odds were stacked against us, though. I think, we were top. They had the home advantage, and obviously they were full time. But I think, I don't think would have shocked many people who don't know the history of Scunthorpe. I think a lot of people would have looked at that if they didn't know and thought, oh, well, top's beat second.
Well, yeah, that's in that sense, yeah. I think, but they were adamantly pretty confident that they would, because it was on a Tuesday night and things had kind of gone in their favour with getting players back, etc. They thought, we're feeling pretty confident.
It's only about a month or so ago when you both made your end of season predictions. So do go and check that episode out if you haven't already. But wondering now, do either of you think Tamworth won't win the league from this position? Brett, do you want to answer first?
But what I will say is I think Scunthorpe will win the playoffs.
Very cryptic. What about you, Graham?
That was a bit of a mic drop moment from Brett there. It's hard for me to say, but I think we are. Yeah, I think we will win the league. I think we will win the league. But I don't think Scunthorpe will win the playoffs. I think they'll bowl it. It's too much pressure on them.
It seems like quite a long time ago now, but Tamworth did beat Spennymoor 2-0 at home on Saturday. How important, Graham, was that victory?
Yeah, it was important, especially after we picked up that draw 0-0 against Boston. Good to get back to winning ways. I wouldn't say potential banana skin because I felt pretty confident going into that game that we come away with 3 points. Sounds like it was pretty comfortable. We dominated throughout. I wasn't out of the game. Haven't seen any highlights either, but other than what they posted on Twitter. But it definitely sounded like we were pretty dominant to be perfectly honest, and so we should be. They're really, really poor form, Spennymoor. And that set us up nicely for the Scunthorpe game. Just kept that, gave us that winning momentum back again after that 0-0 draw against Boston.
It was important because, like I said last week, it was important because we needed that to set ourselves up for the Scunthorpe game. Having had the negative news about Jellis after everyone all of a sudden just deciding that we were rubbish because we drew 0-0 with Boston in gale force wins. We needed that just to sort of put everyone's mind back on where it should be. And then we went there, played up, got the win, and now it's... I don't even know how many games that is unbeaten now. Is it 10? I think it's 10, actually. I think the club shared it earlier.
What's more amazing to me is that we haven't conceded a goal. That is just brilliant. That's some go in that. Winning is one thing, but to not concede a goal. I can't remember.
It's the second minute of that Rushall away game in the last game of week 3.
Rushall.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next up for Tamworth then is Alfreton Town away. Alfreton are 9th in the National League North, just the 1 point off the playoffs. They've got games in hand on the teams around, so there'll be a big incentive for them to get a win against Tamworth. And they are the 3rd highest goal scorers in the league, so obviously a threat going forward. Is this, Brett, one of the trickier away games Tamworth could begin February with?
Yeah, I think so. I can't really remember. I think maybe once going there and beating them. It's quite a hard place to go to. It's sort of on the back of a housing estate. Feels really open as well, even though it's not. And obviously they beat us as well at the start of the season. So we'll beat them. I mean, we'll beat anyone now. So we'll definitely beat them. But I think it could be tough after obviously a hard fought win on Tuesday.
Thoughts, Graham?
Yeah, a bit of unpredictable one, this. As you say, they've scored a lot of goals. They've scored 50 goals, and we've scored 56 goals. Scunthorpe scored 56 goals. So they have scored a lot of goals, but they also concede a lot of goals. And I noticed they've been in quite a few high-scoring games recently. So, we're at threat of maybe conceding a goal or two. And we have to, it's kind of one of them where we have to outscore them. I think we will win, but it's going to be tough. Yeah, a bit hard to predict this one. But I think there'll be goals in it. I've heard quite a few other managers in the league say that Alfreton going to be kind of up there in the playoffs. So it's a bit of slightly false position where they're at the moment, and that's probably due to those games in hand. And so that's what makes me it's a bit more unpredictable of what I think the result is going to be of this or how it's going to go about. I just think this is probably a bigger threat to our kind of, conceding a goal. But I still think we're doing what we're doing. We'll go there and we'll get a win.
I feel a little bit like I'm less confident about this game than I was ahead of Scunthorpe, and I'm probably basing that more just on it's the stereotypical game after your huge game, and I don't know. I think it really could be any result here, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, you've always got that fear of like we lose this game and then Scunthorpe win and it's sort of everything the tides turn. But I trust in Andy Peaks to keep the players on the ground and it's just another game. We do the job that we've got to do.
I'd take a draw. I think we could beat. I think we'll beat them, but I'd take a draw. After Tuesday, I'll take a draw, and then another training session then in the week, and then we'll back to winning ways after that.
Time for our predictions then. A reminder, in our predictions mini league, you get 1 point for the correct result and 3 for getting the scoreline exactly correct. So it was a double predictions episode last time. For the Spennymoor game, Brett, you predicted a 1-0 win for Tamworth. Graham, though, you got the final score correct. It was 2-0. And meanwhile, for the Scunthorpe game, you both predicted a Tamworth win. But Graham, it's double delight for you this week, as you correctly predicted a 1-0 win for the Lambs. Brett, I'm afraid you said 2-1, which means a change at the summit of our predictions league. Brett, you have been in the lead since we started the podcast, and Graham's reeled you in with a quite stupendous set of predictions this time. So, Graham, your 2 correct scoreline predictions means you get a total of 6 points, which moves you to 16 points in the league overall, which shows just how quite a sort of average season you are having until now. Brett, you get a point apiece for your 2 correct results, which moves you up to 14 points. So still very tight at the top of our little predictions league with Graham on 16 and Brett on 14. So I'll let you go first, Brett. What is your scoreline prediction for Alfreton away?
2-1 to Tamworth.
Graham?
I'm gonna go Alfreton to Tamworth 3. What a fantastic week we've had. Andy Peaks has got another Manager of the Week award, I believe. We've got 2 players in the team of the week for the National League. That was brilliant. We just keep going.
If there's anyone who listens to this that just has a passing interest in the club, if you live in Tamworth and you listen to this, go down and watch them at the next home game, because this is the cusp now of the club doing something really special. This is a fantastic team, and this is a togetherness that the only thing I can put anything similar to is like when we went up to the conference the first time. So this is the time now to go and enjoy this team for what it is.
We'll leave it there for this episode of the Tamworth FC Social podcast. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking the subscribe button and turning video notifications on. Until next time, goodbye.